Good evening. This is Carla Nelson Chambers, and you are watching Conference Room Conversations. We are so grateful to have you join us today, whether it's live or recorded. We thank you for dropping into our show to hear about the various things that we are doing in the business community. And Conference Room Conversations is a platform designed for women in business and women business owners who need to hear different ideas and solutions about their business. It's answering those questions that they have that they usually can't ask and have answered in mixed company. It's also getting solutions to their problems. And it's usually those problems that you don't even know is going on until you're in the mix of it all. And we have a cadre of subject matter experts, out of the box thinkers that can provide the solutions to those problems that you're having and answer those questions that you're having. So this is our fourth week. And I am grateful for all of those who subscribed. It's called your little circle of influence. I sent an email out to all my girlfriends, and thank you so much for those who have subscribed to the show. And if you have topics that you would like to hear us discuss, please email me at CANC at Nelson, NELSON, ideation, IDEATION.com. And I'll make sure to talk with you and converse to find out how we can get your questions answered and the topics that you want to discuss, and find some subject matter experts to bring them to the forefront, and then possibly even have you as a guest. So you can find us on YouTube, Conference Room Conversations. Please like our shows and subscribe. We're less than 30 days old, and I am trying to get 100 subscribers in 30 days. So I think I can do it with your help. And then there are opportunities for business owners and mostly women. We're trying to promote women who have a product or a service that they would like to showcase on our show or be a sponsor. Please use that same email address so that we can talk with you about the opportunities to sponsor this show and other shows on the platform that I'm a part of. As always, you give acknowledgement and thank you and gratitude to the people who brought you in the room. One of my taglines is getting you a seat at the table. But before you can get to the table, you have to be invited into the room. And this room I was invited to by Mr. Donnie Glover of Be More News. And so I want to thank him personally for giving me this platform and opportunity to bring this concept and idea to life. So thank you, Donnie Glover, for the opportunity. You can also see this show on his YouTube channel, which is bemorenews.com. And then, of course, the platform we're on, and we're also via Facebook on blackusanews.com via Facebook. And then lastly, as I mentioned, my show, and then I can take my show and put it on my Facebook page, which is the Nelson Ideation Group. So there's several ways to connect with us live or in person. I'm sorry, live or taped, and to get our message out and possibly to get your products and services out. So I just want to thank all of those who have supported us in these last three. I think this is the fourth show. We're very, very grateful for your support. We're grateful for both the men and women who come and listen to the conversation. And because men definitely can learn some things for the ladies. And with that, our guest tonight is a dear friend of mine who happens to be the first male on the show. I'll probably repeat it once he gets in. Very, very busy. But we are going to learn some things tonight and about women business in the manufacturing arena. And I think that is so unique and different, because we don't, most of the time when we talk about manufacturing, it's always us being the employee and being on the assembly line. This time we get to talk about those who have a business within the manufacturing industry and all of the great things that they're doing. So again, if you would like to get in touch with me about a show idea or possibly be a guest on our show for one of the topics that we'll be discussing throughout the year, you can email me again at CANC at Nelson, Nelson, ideation, which is IDEATION.com. So with that, thank you, Michael Randolph. Good evening. You are from Tampa, Florida. Yay, I have a couple of friends in Tampa. So thank you so much for joining our show tonight. And if anybody else wants to put their information or ideas or responses in the chat, by all means, please do that. I welcome them, and we'll highlight certain comments and things that go along throughout the evening. To give you just a little bit of background about what the conference room conversation is about and the various guests that we'll have on, we really like to use subject matter experts. And one of the things I've found in my travels throughout the United States is that us here in the DMV, in the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Pennsylvania, Virginia, we are so used to having resources, business resources and government resources at our fingertips. We don't get and we kind of take it for granted, the plethora of information that we get. And unfortunately, it is not so readily available in other parts of the country. And so it's my passion, one of my many passions, to spread this news out to the United States, because other people in other states, especially the Midwest, South, and even Western states, they don't know this, and they don't even have a really good relationship with the Small Business Administration, the SBA or SCORE. And it's whereas we see them all over the place in the DMV, they don't really exist in a lot of different places throughout the United States. So one of my goals is really to make sure that this platform takes a national level and a platform, so that people throughout the country will be able to garner information that we take for granted, and be able to tap into those resources, especially that the federal government has, because with all the the new infrastructure money that's out there and all the ARPA funds that are out there, we as small business owners need to know how to tap into those resources. And so with that, I am going to bring in my dear, dear, dear friend, Mr. Scott Phillips. Scott, one of the things that I said to our audience before you popped on, is that you are the first male guest on the show. But though you are a male and we are having conversations about women business owners and women in business, what I want our audience to understand is that you are a big brother, you are an advocate, you are a golly, just a supporter, all around good guy. Ladies, I'm going to say he's married. He has two grown 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 women as daughters. And I say that so that to let you know that he understands women and what we go through, not just in business, but also in life. And so he's very sensitive to the needs of women business owners, and he's able to give advice that a typical, I shouldn't say typical, too late, a typical male isn't going to give. He's sensitive and he understands the various nuances that we have to deal with in life and in business. And that's why he's a good friend for 25 years, something like it was 1999. That we, yes. 1999 that we met, and we're both living in Maryland, but we met in New York City because we got an award. That's how those things go. So I just want people to know first that you are my friend, you are my big brother. You have been with me when I was single, and now you're with me as I'm married, and have a great relationship with my husband. I have a great relationship with your wife. And I say that because both Scott and I are business people. Our spouses are not. and so we have to deal with the other parts of the business, but it's a part of our lives about how it's important. And Scott, in an earlier show, we talked about part of the process and going through ups and downs is having a partner with you that will be there to support you. Yes. Because there are some times when nobody understands what you're going through but your partner. So with that, welcome to the show. Please let our audience know a little bit about you and because everybody here is MBDA, but people really don't know what it is and all the great things that have happened in the last 12 months with this agency.
With this agency, yeah, it's been uh-oh. Here, echo, is that me?
You're good.
Here, a little bit of an echo. All right.
Okay.
So MBDA. Let me just kind of share how I got even started with MBDA and a little bit of a story. I'm a Virginia Union University graduate in my proud Virginia Union pen. And when I was in undergrad and in the business school, I was first introduced to the idea of the Minority Business Development Agency because we had a gentleman who used to come to our campus by the name of Robert Brown.
Okay.
Now, the history is people don't know that name, but Robert Brown actually worked in the Nixon administration back in the 60s. Yes. And I first met Robert Brown, and I didn't know things would come full circle because it was Robert Brown's idea back in the late 60s to create an agency like the Minority Business Development Agency in government, an agency that would be focused specifically on the development of minority-owned businesses, right? Not the SBA, which while it works with small businesses, most of its dollars do not actually manifest themselves with minority-owned businesses.
Right.
And people sometimes get that confused. So this is the only agency focused solely on minority entrepreneurship in the federal government. So fast forward, I then go to work at IBM, and I spend a number of years working at IBM, but I spend about 8 years managing a federal small business program for IBM. I directed that program for about 7 years. And during that period of time, I once again kind of came in contact with this agency known as the Business Development Agency. And at that time, it was really working to bridge the gap between corporate America, right, and minority business. That was a major part of its focus. Fast forward, I retire, and I get a phone call one day from your friend of mine, from Sharon Pender, who was the director of the mayor's office of minority and women business back then. And she said, "You know what, Scott? I understand you're retired. I put my focused on my law practice, right? Because I am a
but we need you.
Yeah." But we would like for you to consider coming in and working with minority businesses. We have been, the city was a recipient of a MBDA Business Center grant.
And can you tell the audience how we got that? Who was responsible for getting us that grant?
So there were a number. You were involved in that, as I recall, right early on. But Sharon Pender, a little bit. But Sharon Pender, who was the director of the mayor's office of small minority business, really dug in. The opportunity presented itself, and the city put together a wonderful proposal, and it was elected. At the time the city was selected, it was actually the only municipality, right? Most of the operators of MBDA centers were universities or private industry or junior colleges. They were not cities.
A municipality.
Not a municipality.
And our illustrious senator was the one that made sure that we got that money.
Yes.
Miss Barbara Mikulski. And just to say, that's why it's important for us to know who our elected officials are.
Absolutely.
And how they bring the money back. And she brought the money back knowing it was specifically for minority businesses. And she made sure it was Baltimore City and not Baltimore County, not Prince George's. And trust me, I've lived in both places, nothing against them, but she understood the importance of putting it in the city, to have this center in the city. So that's how government works.
That's how government works, right? I think that's important that you mention that, right? Because at the end of the day, what MBDA does is all about providing technical assistance and putting money into communities to build capacity to provide technical assistance to minority businesses. So fast forward, that was about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Subsequent to that, another opportunity presented itself for me to focus specifically on manufacturing, right? Minority made products, both commercial,
Mm-hmm.
so business to consumer and business to business. And so this has been really exciting for us. As a matter of fact, in July of 2021, we were awarded our second 5-year grant to continue this work to continue this work that we're involved in. To give an idea of the type of work that the minority business centers do, we have the general business centers, and
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore is fortunate to have one headquartered here, a general business center that is operated by L.S. Caldwell and Associates,
Okay. Right.
and it's run by a young lady by the name of Gianna Hilton.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have an office here downtown in Baltimore. They were also re-awarded a grant to go for another 5 years.
Oh,
And,
great.
and
Great.
yes, and their focus is general business related consulting services. And they're now the Maryland Business Center. They're no longer the Baltimore Business Center. They're now the Maryland Business Center.
So can I just do a shameless plug?
Sure.
When it when it's first started out, remember it was during the pandemic, and they had their center downtown, and they were giving out grants, and you could get, what was it, $2,000 towards various technical assistance. I'm a recipient of one of those grants.
There you
Hallelujah!
go.
And mine was to help to better my website. It's not there yet because there was some stuff I had to do, but these are the things that are so important. With when the money came out and everybody's asking where did it go, who's doing what, well, I can tell you I was a recipient of that grant, and so many others, and they're still having these monthly or several times a month sessions, and it's free, it's virtual, to learn what you need to do during a pandemic environment, to learn all the different tools that you need to manage your business, ramp your business up to the next level. It's tax time where you need to, all of that stuff. So this is the work that MBDA does that most people don't know about. And so before you get into manufacturing, I just want to tell you that I spoke to my audience right before you came on, and I said that we were going to talk about manufacturing and women-owned businesses. And I said that most of us are used to being the employee in a manufacturing company, and we think about assembly lines and not understanding that manufacturing has it's totally, well, not totally different, but it is different, and that there are some great things that are happening right here in the Mid-Atlantic area. So I wanted to tell you how I pumped you up before you came on, because manufacturing is a lot different than what we knew when we grew up, understanding manufacturing from big factories and smoke fields, thank you. Yes.
So let me, before I even get there, I do want to kind of give everybody a sense. There's some standard things that happen when you come into an MBDA funded program, right? All of the programs focus on really 5 core areas of support. The first being access to capital, right? So if you're looking for capital, we don't have the money, right?
Right.
But we are here to assist you with dealing with banks, with dealing with venture capital, with dealing with bonding, with dealing with those things. And each one of the centers has generally developed their own network of resources to work with clients along that line.
And can you just give a little bit more specific, because you say in dealing with that, does that mean that you are helping them to understand how to put their package together, and then based on the type of company, you might be better with this institution versus that bank versus this lending organization? Do you get in the weeds that much, or no?
We do. We
Okay.
do. So if you were to come to us and say, I've got a bonding issue, we would
Mm-hmm.
then say, look, let's sit down and talk about the best option for you on bonding. In Maryland, that might be Meridian Management Group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be another organization, but we would sit
Mm-hmm.
down and we would understand your situation and who might be best to
Okay.
assist you with that particular issue, right? It may be a scenario that says we need to deal with a bank, but we're going to deal with a bank that does SBA lending,
Right.
right?
Right. And these are resources at your agency that are free, or are they, or is there a charge?
No, those are agencies that we provide. This is the beauty of being
There,
operated by Baltimore City.
yes.
So the city chose when we began this process that we would not charge fees for participation in our program.
Now, is
Not,
that across the board?
no, that is not.
Okay. Okay.
So if you were in, I can't speak for my colleagues in Texas or Florida,
Yeah.
but many of them do charge, if not a full fee, some nominal amount
Okay.
to participate in the program. They do.
Okay.
So
That's
we
why
are
it pays to live here.
yes, we are little unique as it
Okay.
relates to that.
And
Okay.
so, and okay, so that was number one, access to capital. It's like
Access to
we could
capital.
just stop there and talk all day long
Yep.
about access to capital. We might have to come back and have one of those conversations with other people at the table, because you and I hear it all the time, and it gets a little redundant. But what's redundant for us is like butter bread, for other people. It's brand new, and we
Right.
have to keep pushing the message out about these are the various ways you can go about getting funding. These are the organizations that do a great job of it, and like you said, they have the SBA backed funding. But before you get there, as I said before you came on, before you get the seat at the table, you got to get in the room. Somebody has to help you get into the room.
That's
And then
correct.
prior to that, somebody has to help prep you so that when you walk in the room, you're ready and you're not fumbling. So that's the advantage of working with your agency. And but yes, okay. So what? Access to capital.
Yeah.
2.
The other is access to contracts.
Okay.
So part of our role is to, once we've understood your company, if that's your focus area, is to expose you to contract opportunities, right? An example
Mm-hmm.
might be some inroads into procurement for Baltimore City or Baltimore County, or it may be a commercial environment that you're trying to expand into, and assisting you with understanding or engaging you with other agencies that we work with, like a PTAC, right? The Procurement
What's that?
Technical Assistance Center.
Okay.
Procurement Technical Assistance Center. I was going to go there. I'm not going to hit you with acronyms and not explain what they are.
Well, for the
I
sake
know
of our audience,
yeah, for the sake of the audience, I'm not going to hit you with the acronym and not explain what it is. But the PTAC is the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. So one of the ways that we believe we are effective is also understanding what other resources are available for
Right.
minority businesses to take advantage of. So in some respects, we become a connector, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I like to call it the warm transfer. So I'm not going to have a
Mm-hmm.
client come to me and I just give them a number and send them there. What we do when we're working with our clients
Mm-hmm.
is we will make that call, right? We will do that connection, the warm connection. And then our job is to follow up to assist with the progression of that engagement and however it goes,
Okay.
right? So when it comes to contracts, that's one resource. There are other resources. There are the supplier diversity folks in various organizations, which we try to maintain a relationship with as well, so that we can connect you with who's doing, supplier diversity at BGE, who's doing supplier diversity at Pepco or Dominion Power or McCormick or, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the expansion or opportunity with contracts. The next one is markets, right? So
Okay.
let's say today you are providing retail. I I won't call, well, yeah, I won't call names. Maybe later I'll call some names of clients that we've worked with. But you're in a retail business
Mm-hmm.
and you're selling your products one way. And you say, you know what, I'd like to expand my markets. I may want to expand my markets geographically,
Mm-hmm.
or I may want to expand my route to market. We would work with you to do that. So let's say you're doing retail, you have a local boutique here, you're manufacturing your own product and you're
Mm-hmm.
here, and you say, you know what, I'd like to be at BWI Airport. Ah, Miss Carla, I'd like to
I
be,
know we talked about you today.
right? I'd like to be at BWI Airport. So then how do we advocate on behalf to expand their opportunities, their
Right.
markets, their go-to-market strategy? So we work on that. The other area, so that was 3. 4 is really more about import export, primarily export, right? And looking at how can we help clients begin to think about selling their product internationally, right? And then the 5th one is just general strategic business consulting. It may be HR related. It could be accounts receivable, accounts payable. It could be accounting. It could be a legal matter. It could be, I'm considering, and once again, you got to remember, we have a relatively small staff, and all of the centers do. So it's about how do we leverage other resources to help our clients. And so when you think about HR, we have people that we work with along HR lines. We have people that we work with along accounting lines. We have people that we work with along legal advice and counsel. So we engage those individuals to help our clients succeed.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Okay.
that's what we do. So now with the manufacturing center, we go a little bit further. So we then either ourselves or through partners that are in manufacturing provide specialized training,
Mm-hmm.
right? Consulting services that are very specific to manufacturers. We figure out financing that's associated with manufacturers. Our most recent transaction had to do with the acquisition of a piece of equipment that was going to do a 2x in terms of the production of the company, right? We assisted them with finding the lender,
Mm-hmm.
advising them on terms, and securing that piece of equipment for them. So that's exciting, right? We've worked with
And
clients
different.
and
Just
different
real different.
and different, right? We've worked with clients on another, I would consider a success story. Personally, I've done a fair amount of economic development, community development related work. And one of the things that happens in that is when you do a project, usually we call it the money stack. The money stack is varied, right? I need more than one bank, right? I may need the bank. I may need some money from the state, whatever state it is. I may need some money from the local jurisdiction. It gets a little complicated. We've worked with a couple of clients to do those types of projects, and I will give a shout out to Rashid Aziz and Citywide Youth Works, right, which is an
Okay.
organization I love. They did a project on North Avenue where they took a warehouse, 20,000 square feet, and they used the money stack, right? They had state money, they had foundation money, they had private sector money, and they completely gutted and redid this 20,000 square foot warehouse to do clothing production and food production
Wow.
in business today, right? So we
That's
get
awesome.
involved. Yeah, it's exciting, right? I mean, I spent 30 years at IBM. Made them a lot of money, but it doesn't. I mean, it was good, right? But
Right.
this feels so much better, quite frankly.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Get excited about seeing these things happen in our communities, in our neighborhood. So
And I was going to say with our people
without
and helping them to grow and knowing that you are making a lasting impact on the lives of the people. And then with IBM, I know you were traveling literally all over this Western hemisphere,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
nice when you can do something for someone local and then you get to see the growth and go to the ribbon cutting and then go to the
Yeah.
anniversary and then come back and say, we need some more money because we got to hire some more people. That is a a feeling. It's hard to describe, but it's just one of those, you know, passion feelings that you feel like that you help somebody to further their vision and further their cause and what they want to do in life. So let's we're literally at the halfway mark. Let's talk about one is there anything in particular for women in the manufacturing industry, number one, and then number two, I already know one person that you talked about and referenced, I have no problems with you identifying some of the people that you've worked with. As long if they say it's cool.
Yeah, yeah. I think we've had some real success stories, and I'm really excited about it. Sometimes I think, in spite of us, I don't even know if we've got anything to do with it, but we've associated ourselves with some really great
Yeah.
entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my hope that we've added to their success, and we've seen some real successes. When you talk about women in manufacturing, women in business, period,
Yeah.
there is exponential growth taking place, right? And we're really excited about it. On February the 24th, we will be doing a symposium, and it's going to be called Minority Made, right? And we're just going to have a panel, one guest speaker, and it's being tied to what we're doing as an open house. The open house will be relatively small, and we're just inviting a few people in. We do have the director of the Minority Business Development Agency who's going to be coming in to say a few words on February the 24th, so I'm going to put that plug in. But the reason I even brought it up, because you talked about women in manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, our invited guests for the panel are all women. They happen to be all women in manufacturing. Yes. The men will probably be upset with me. I do have Omar Muhammad, who chairs the TEDCO board, which, so if you're in Maryland and you're hearing these names, TEDCO is a venture capital fund that was actually created by the state of Maryland. So I do have one male. He will be moderating the panel, but we've made invitation to a number of young ladies who are really trailblazers, if you want to know. One is Ellington West from a company called Sanavi. She's created a technology which helps to diagnose diseases that are associated with respiratory disease. Yes, using sound. Really interesting. Has gone through the funding process, is actually on about her third round, and is now producing the product, right? Actually, it has orders for the product. Ariane Long from a company called Fimley. I was reminded that.
Oh, yes.
Yes, feminine products, all natural feminine products. And Natalia Louise, who runs a company called M. Louise.
Hey, Louise, my girl.
Yes, and people don't realize. So I've got cutting edge technology for medical device. I've got a consumer product, and then
Construction,
right?
yes.
And her company actually manufactures asphalt. If you could think about it. Woman-owned company that manufactures asphalt. So that's the invited lineup, and we're working on that for the 24th. So yes, we do work a lot with females in manufacturing. I was really impressed with the go-to-market strategy for a company called Fashion Spa House with Cynthia Rumpf. And yes, I did allude to Cynthia earlier when I talked about BWI Airport. She took her business from being focused in a boutique, right, to having a presence at BWI Airport, and she's looking to expand that. But the other thing that she's done really, really well is online, right? Really gone to e-commerce with her business. And those are all things that we end up discussing in our sessions. One of the tools that we've used in working with our clients is something we call a CEO advisory. Small businesses, particularly minority businesses, often don't have their own ecosystem.
Right.
And we found that to be particularly true in manufacturing. When I started with this about 5 years ago, I was really coming out of a more technology related base. Technologists talk to each other a lot, right? Whether it was informally or formally. What we found is that the manufacturers were kind of, each one of them
On their
were on
own.
islands of their
Yeah.
own,
Yeah.
right? They knew their business and their product and generally did not get out of the shop, right? So we started doing these advisory sessions where once a month we would bring them together.
Okay.
And that's run by a gentleman by the name of Alan Hirsch. And
Yes, I know Alan.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, Alan Hirsch, Hirsch Advisors. So Alan runs that for us every month, and the business owners come in and they share whatever their issue is, their pressing issue, and we usually get through about 3 or 4 of them every month. But the beauty is they give each other advice and counsel, right? Whether it's a human resource issue, which somebody may have been through, turnover, retention rates low.
Right.
Um, in manufacturing, OSHA is important, occupational safety and health, right? Guiding each other through that process, right? All of a sudden, the OSHA guy shows up and somebody panics. Well, there are people who are in that advisory who've been through those things before and can help ease the pain. We're each other's psychiatrists and psychologists.
Come sit on on the couch. It's your turn this week.
It's your turn this week. It's your turn this week. But what else has come out of that, though, are these nuggets of, I have this opportunity. So it presents for us as their advisors an opportunity to hear those issues in a different way than when we go sit with them in their office, right?
Right. Right.
And it's surprising, we actually get more out of those sessions sometimes than we do when we're sitting with them one-on-one. And then it allows us to apply our resources to whatever those challenges or opportunities are.
And I'm grateful that you said that, because that's part of what Conference Room Conversations is about. I've had, as you know, I've had so many women business owners that have come to me and say, how do I handle this? Cynthia with Fashion Spa House, we were talking earlier today. She's going to be one of our participants and guests in our show. I'm planning all the way out through July, but we're going to have the Goldman Sachs 10,000 small business group on there, but it's all the women, of course. And we're going to have Cynthia as a local business owner who's gone through the program, and they're looking to get someone who's gone through it on the national platform. And when I called her, I said, "Are you busy?" Because I could hear something in the background. Girl, ship it, packing up stuff to ship it. And so people don't understand, all the background work, all the dirty work that you have to do. What does it mean to shut down during the pandemic, hoping that you can open back up? And she was able to open up another facility, but especially in manufacturing, because you're relying on people and space. How do I manage and stay afloat for all of that? And so, yes, just to see her go through what's called the Baltimore, Washington, Thurgood Marshall International Airport as a under the Launchpad program, which is like having a nice little kiosk cart, to now she has an inline space in a coveted area in the airport right across from the food court. Is just amazing. And to see her grow. And now she's going to, like you said, she's got an online presence. I'm guilty, but she's got another location in Owings Mills. I had planned on taking your wife, and so she's now, going back, getting back on top again. And like you said, she wants to expand her product line in other airports. And that is different. Doing it in an airport environment is totally different than just having a regular brick and mortar. We'll talk about that in another show. Yeah. And then Natalia Louise, the M. Louise, both her and Sedalia. When I was the director for the mayor's office of minority business development, they had not yet bought the asphalt plant, but they had taken over their father's business, and they have a wonderful story to tell. But they had taken over their father's business, and as they say, they'll leave you alone when you're doing curbs and sidewalks. When you start doing street and concrete on the bigger projects, the big boys, and we all know who they are, they don't like you. They're like, you stepping on our territory. Right. Okay, then we'll use you as a subcontractor because we have to meet our WBE goals. Well, wait a minute. Now now you're going against me as a prime. There's a problem. And I was able to help them through some things that could be very hindering for them in trying to get work done. And we're planning a show about construction industry and how tough it is in general. And then it's even tougher for women in the construction industry. So ladies, stay tuned, because it is something that we really need to know how to navigate. And sometimes we need to understand from the male's perspective how to navigate, because it's a male dominated world. And so if we got good brothers like you to help us out, it makes the road a little less bumpy, or at least you got somebody helping you to guide you along that road, because it's a tough one. So I was very happy when the M. Louise got their asphalt plant and people were like, uh-oh, they're serious now. And they are very well respected. It's so great to see their trucks all over the place. And this isn't just Baltimore City. We're talking about all throughout Maryland and the District of Columbia. I don't know if they're doing anything in Virginia, but I have seen them throughout the state of Maryland. And that's a high feat for a woman-owned firm to do that type of work throughout the state. And I'm glad to hear that they're going to be a part of your panel. The growth. Yes.
Talking about the growth. So we're really excited. I mean, we've had an opportunity to work with, this is a focus on women, to work with some really dynamic female business owners in manufacturing.
And then I'm sorry, the woman with the feminine product, isn't she the one that got a grant from Beyonce?
Yes, I believe I believe it's Beyonce's mother who identified her, as I understand the story.
Yes, but that's great. I saw it on I don't know if it was because you get so many news feeds, but she got this nice publicity plug about that. I was like, okay, right here in the Baltimore area. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
we're doing a fair amount of work with a product design production house.
Okay.
In Baltimore, and the name of that organization is Harbor Design. I'll give them a shout out. They're actually housing our Minority Innovation Hub cooperative. So we've created a co-op, and we're early stage. We have a few of our clients are the initial investors and members of the co-op. And we placed the co-op in a location, 1100 Wacomico. And the reason we wanted it there was two things. This is an interesting building, old history. It was one of the early locations for Under Armour. Yes. So they began their production out of this building. I use that because nationally people will recognize the Under Armour brand.
That's right.
So Under Armour began their production out of this facility. It's a huge building, which is really underutilized today, but it is very appropriate for manufacturing and for building design. Huge elevators for moving large things up and down, huge floor space. It's an amazing building. And so there are a number of minority manufacturers. There are a number of manufacturers, but there are a number of minority manufacturers that happen to be in this building. So we decided to take this new initiative, the My Hub co-op, and place it in the building as well. And so that initiative is co-located with Harbor Design. And I mention that because we talk about Ariane and her family product. They are doing the design, development, and production of her product. At the same time, right, we have another business that is in the building called Dene 3D printing. And so they are doing some similar work, right, for other clients where they're doing the product design using 3D printing. So you can get your prototypes through them. So as people think about, as you have ideas and you want to put something out into the marketplace, but you want to test it first, you want to see if it works, 3D printing is an option. And so there are some minority businesses in that business.
We need to promote that because we see it on television about 3D printing, and it's like, okay, so but where do I go? It's like, where do you start and who do you talk to? So to know that there's a minority firm, and at least they're here in the Maryland area or the Mid-Atlantic area, for those who are maybe watching in Virginia or DC or Pennsylvania, Delaware, that's not a far drive to have or to first have a conversation and then to, drive to see something like that and know that that's when not only do you get a seat at the table, but everybody gets to eat with everything, and that's how we help support our own. Nothing against anybody else, but we got to take care of our own. And so I just think that's awesome. And if there's a way that we can share that information and I can refer them to someone, that would be just absolutely wonderful. Absolutely.
So I will tell you, one of the things that we're encouraging is through the work with developing the co-op, not only are we working with Dene and we're working with Harbor Design, but to help bring down some of the cost, we were able to acquire our own 3D printer. So the MyHub co-op has a 3D printer that we can provide at a relatively low cost, if in fact the organizations that are building their product really do have a design that can be sent. It can then be printed by us and provided to them as a prototype, and that is a service of the co-op. So we've got all kinds of options. We're trying to build. So in that building, we've got Dene with 3D printing capability, and they have a number of 3D printers. We've got Harper Design, and we have the co-op. And they're different form factors because everybody thinks if I have a 3D printer, it's like a piece of paper, I can print anything. That's not true, right? So depending upon what you want, depending upon the size, we're now kind of creating this environment inside of this building where we can accommodate a number of different form factors to support this design effort.
So when you say form factors, you're saying is it plastic or is it what's the mold, what's the material what's the raw material? Okay.
So it is both. What is the type of materials that can be used inside of the printer to create the object, as well as what is the size? Different printers, form factors have different size, different, length, width, height, all of that.
All of that, right.
All of good stuff. And so right now we don't have we don't have one of those huge printers. There was actually one of those down in Prince George's County with Local Motors. They call that, I can't recall the acronym, so I shouldn't use it. But there is a different form factor, right? Huge. They call it the BAM, which would actually allow you to print, let's like a vehicle. That we don't have.
We'll just go to Prince George's and
go to Prince George's.
At least they're
still there, right? But so but we do have multiple form factors that you could print.
That's awesome.
At one of our facilities, at one of our partners, with one of our strategic partners, we can get it done.
It's like as we say, die cut on steroids. I'm from the die cut. It was a long time ago. So that's just really, really wonderful. So with the time we have left, I'd like you to, you talked about that there was going to be this event on February 24th, but please tell our audience what's that connected to. Sure. Give our audience how they can get in touch with your agency. And I know you were talking about the co-op and everything. Is there opportunity for someone who's in manufacturing that there's space to lease or rent or what have you? Just help us to understand what the possibilities are.
Sure, sure. In terms of offering up space, we don't have space and we don't operate space today. It is a thought, and we're hopefully moving down that path where we will have control over a space that we can incubate, that we can bring folks in. Across the country, though, there are a number of spaces like that, right? There are a number of organizations, kind of like Open Works,
Okay. Yes.
around the country, right? And so, for those who don't know, Open Works is a place where you can take a concept or an idea, manufacturing concept, and share space and share tools, whether it's 3D printing, cutters, sewing, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a number of those that are popping up around the country. That is not where we are. We really are an advisory group. We want to grow you based upon your desire to grow and bring in the resources to help you grow. And we'll do that through the Advanced Manufacturing Center and our relationship in building out the MyHub Co-op.
Okay.
You talked about the February 24th event.
Yes.
Each center, it has been asked to do an open house. And that open house can be designed as you would like. What we've decided to do is to do an open house where we'll be inviting in some of our dignitaries to look at our space at 1100 Wycomico. And needless to say, that's going to be relatively small. We can't take 50 to 100 people through there. However, what we thought was we should do an event tied to that would allow our current clients to both exhibit their wares and then to provide some information for folks. So that will be the panel that we will have, and we'll have some of our clients sharing their success stories, their challenges, and giving advice and counsel to the attendees on how to grow a minority-made business, right?
Awesome.
How do you grow a minority-made business? So we've got about 40. We usually work with about 40 clients a year. That's about the max that we can work with. And that revolves. We have some of our clients that stay with us year to year, and then we add in some new clients, and some clients drop off, but we're about 40. We're expecting somewhere around 20 to 25 of them to exhibit that day as well.
Okay. That's a lot, though. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And so how can people get in touch with your agency?
Sure. A couple of different ways. First, our number, I have to read it off, 443-401-0242. Still have old-fashioned phone number you can call, you can reach out to. You can also reach us through our web presence. And I'm going to give you both. If you're interested in the co-op, I'll start there. It's www.myhubcoop.com. That's MIHUBCOOP.com. myhubcoop.com. The Advanced Manufacturing Center is www.baltimore, M as in Mary, B as in boy, D as in David, A as in Apple.com, BaltimoreMBDA.com. And if individuals are interested in reaching me directly, you can reach me at nsphillips@baltimorembda.com. So just as you see my name under there, N. Scott Phillips, it's nsphillips@baltimorembda.com. That's how you reach us. And we love to entertain, engaging with you in whatever way you'd like to reach us. We're excited. We're always excited about engaging new clients. Had a wonderful conversation this past week with a young lady who calls herself the cosmetic chemist, Cindy J Products. I was really excited about that. I know, another new business. She is the formulator to a number of scents that go into hair care, skin care, colognes. Really interesting young lady. So that's part of what gets us going, is meeting new business owners and engaging with them and helping them to attain their ultimate dreams.
Right. And there is one other person that you've assisted that took over a existing brick and mortar.
Yes.
We would be remiss if we didn't talk about.
So that is it really is a wonderful story, and I know she was a Prince Georgian, but before she came back to Baltimore, and
Right.
that's April Richardson. The name of the company is Food Opportunity, but they trade under two different names. One is Baked in Baltimore, and the other is DC, just DC sweet potato cakes.
The
DC
Baked in
cakes.
Baltimore is right on Reisterstown Road for those of you who are in the Baltimore area, in Baltimore City. And their products are sold not just in the bakery, but in Safeway. Was it Sam's
Safeway,
Club?
Wegmans, Sam's Club, even some of the small desserts you get in Starbucks.
Yes.
They're really all over the place.
All over the place.
They've done really well, and they're
Yes.
distributing at this point nationally. She's one of the great stories for me is, we were working with her, and she really turned us onto this, right? And we shared it with some of our other clients. She does HSN and what's the other one? She does the two
QVC.
QVC, right?
Yeah.
We're big on HSN.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, April. She said, I'm going on before Thanksgiving. I said, okay. How many units does that mean? You're doing 1,000 units. No, 10,000 units in 10 minutes.
I know, right?
10,000 units in 10 minutes.
That's 1,000 units a minute.
That's 1,000 units a minute, right? So that's a different avenue, a different way of selling your product. But more importantly, it's a different way of creating brand recognition.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And she's done it. She's done an excellent job. Just opened another a cafe in downtown DC off of K Street.
So it happened. That I know we talked about it, and it's amazing how many months pass and you look up and it's a new year. But yes, that's
so
great.
This idea, people often don't think about, food processing is manufacturing, right?
That's right.
And food processing is big. So often people talk about, oh, I know Baked in Baltimore, right? They get really excited because they stop by the bakery. What they don't realize is there's 6,000 square feet of manufacturing space behind that, right? Behind that retail, right? And what she sells in front is a small
smattering, yes, sir, of what she sells wholesale. Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And what people don't understand is how many people she employs behind that wall.
I was going to go there too. So we could probably tag off it. Yes. When she showed me her operation, I was like, oh my gosh. And what it takes to make sure that your people are going to come in every day, give you a good product, because it has to be consistent. They don't mess up the recipe. You don't burn the product. And, you talk about just having to stay on point, and she's got a great crew. So April's doing it. I'll have to let her know that we shouted out and have her come look at the show. But we are just so grateful for your time. I am grateful for the various women-owned businesses that you have talked about and help and continue to help. There'll be more, I'm sure, between yourself and myself. We're going to get some emails. What can we do for me? But it's a good problem to have. So I want to thank you, Scott, for coming in today, talking about all the great things that Minority Business Development Agency is doing here in the Mid-Atlantic region, located in Baltimore City, but serving the Mid-Atlantic region. And just grateful for all the lives you're touching, all the resources, because even if you aren't helping somebody in the manufacturing, so many people that you're putting out, the network is huge, and it's a great place to be. I'm glad to be a part of your network. Thank you so much for being on my show. But again, for those of you who want to, I got some comments in the area about future shows. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch with you. But after the show, you can always email canc@nelsonideation.com. Please go to Conference Room Conversations, click the like button, subscribe to our show, where we really want to make this a platform for women and people who are supporting women in business to help them to realize their dreams and their visions for business and make it a reality and help all of us, our community, just get to the next level and be successful. With that, thank you so much. Good night. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate you.
Good night.
Good night.